Welcome back to Theta State Fitness. This week we're here at Revive with Blake and Steven here. Of course, you got JT and Joshua here. We're going to talk to them about recovery. I know normally we talk to coaches about training and we went over some squats and rowing techniques, but today we're going to work on the other side of things that we don't normally talk too much about, which is so important, is the recovery part of things. So before we get too far into it, I want you guys to meet Blake and Steven, and we'll kind of have them tell us a little bit about themselves and kind of where they got started and how they got to Revive, where they're now.
Yeah, I'll go first. My name is Blake. I'm LMT, licensed massage therapist. I just kind of got started in this because I've always been into sports and got into body work about 4 to 5 years ago. Went out to a place called Mind Body Institute here in Nashville, and I knew that I wanted to get into the sports world after that, and so that's kind of my trajectory, and I ended up with a company called Nashville Sports Massage for a while, and now I'm on the medical staff with the Titans during the season, and yeah, that's me. We started Revive. It's honestly been in the works for a while, but yeah, I'll let Steven kind of bridge that gap, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm a strength and conditioning coach at Lipscomb University, and got my undergrad in exercise science, and have been doing that for about 6 years. And just training athletes, I always saw the need for soft tissue work, because you see that a lot. Like, there's a problem, and you're trying to coach it, and you can't quite get there because there's some type of biomechanical restriction or soft tissue restriction. And so I started thinking, well, how can I bridge this gap a little bit? And strength coaches get yelled at if they put their hands on and touch. So I wanted to figure out a way.
Don't get us in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't injure the athlete.
So I said, I don't really want to have any restriction or limitations in helping people, especially my athletes. They compete at a very high level in Division I. And so I decided to go into massage therapy. It was a route for me to take where I didn't have to take a ton of time off, go to like PT school or chiropractic school. I could stay in the sports industry as a strength coach. And originally, I was doing active release as a student, and in order to practice that, I needed a licensure. So I at the same time went through Mind Body Institute. That's where I met Blake, and we just got to talking about how there's really nothing right now in Nashville where it's solely focused on people who are active, who are in gyms or weekend warriors. Really, when you hear sports massage, it's really a massage therapist and a spa that might work on an athlete, but it's general soonish or deep tissue, and that's very. It's
and you're
very
trying
basic.
to tell them how your clean was and where it hurt.
I
understand.
There's no common language at all, and they don't really fully understand what somebody who's active playing. Blake plays beach volleyball a lot, and he has a common language with those types of athletes, and me for runners and people who lift weights. So we just got to thinking, like, man, this would be really cool to do in Nashville, and so the concept started a little over a year ago, and we've kind of been piecing it together, and we finally in January opened here at this location. Awesome. And so we're slowly building, getting the word out about what we do. A lot of it is word of mouth, talking to coaches and people who are active, whether it's clubs or running clubs or volleyball clubs or things like that.
Spike ball clubs?
Yeah, we can do that too.
We just discovered spike ball, and we've been hooked the past 4 weeks now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen some tournaments, and there's like 50 different spike ball things.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's one coming up. We're talking about maybe doing it.
Yeah.
Here in Nashville?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. It's coming up in a couple months. So.
That'd be fun.
Cool. So you guys started here recently. What was how'd you get this location? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, so I had a friend who also does stretching. So I do fascial stretching therapy along with sports massage. And he just said, hey man, I have this room that I've been using and would need somebody to kind of go in with me. And so we met Bert, who is the owner of Music City Cryo. And he had these 2 rooms back here, wasn't using them, and we thought, the whole recovery idea would fit perfect within a cryotherapy place. So we talked to Bert, and he allowed us to kind of come in here and we fixed up the rooms, and
That's awesome.
here we are today.
So the type of stretching you do
Yeah.
may be confusing to like some of the people watching. It's
Yeah.
not like your kind of static stretch.
Yeah.
Can you kind of go into detail, like what is it that the type of stretching that you do?
Yeah, so fascial stretching therapy was created by two physical therapists out in Arizona, and it's a combination of a lot of different techniques, PNF, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, a lot of traction of joints. You've got circumduction, oscillations, a lot of different types of stretching packaged together, and it targets fascial lines. So not just looking at the muscle as just a bicep, but how does that connect to the hand and into the shoulder, and stretching that entire fascial chain rather than just focusing on stretching the bicep. The body is an integrated system, so if you just isolate certain areas, you're not going to get full function and the ability to go out and
They say a lot of times if you hit, like if something's sore and you're trying to stretch that, you're probably missing either up the chain or down the chain.
Yep,
So what the
exactly.
actual problem is.
Yep.
That if it's just, oh, my shoulder's bugging me or oh, my lower back's bugging me, there's probably something more to it than just that one spot. It's like, hey, what can I do to stretch my back? Let's kind of back up a little bit, because we get asked stuff like that all the time. Like, oh, this is kind of bugging me. How do I stretch my lower back? It's like, well, okay. So it kind of gets a little bit different. So yeah, up and down the chain is way important as far as hitting the spots that what might be hurting may not be kind of where to work on.
The cause of pain is often not the site of pain. So figuring out where that's coming from, it might not be exactly where it's presenting itself. So.
Yeah. Cool. And then you do the massage part of
I'm mostly
things.
focused, mostly soft tissue manual therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not to be confused with like the day spa massage. A little bit deeper into kind of what your type of massage is going to be compared to what most people might think of as far as like just kind of a spa massage.
Yeah, I would say if I wanted to describe sports massage, I would say it's massage or soft tissue therapy, however you want to say it, with an intentional purpose. Now that purpose might be like recovering from an injury. That purpose might be to increase range of motion. It might be to just do some maintenance work, just some preventative steps to keep your body in shape during training or whatever. So what I'm doing is I'm usually focusing on a problem or some sort of problem area, and I'm using different tools at my disposal to address that particular issue. Whereas if you were to go to a spa, it would generally be more like a routine that a therapist might go through.
Yeah, we'll start at the head and work our way down.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'll use like I do some cupping, I do some like kinesiotaping. We'll do some like instrument assisted stuff. So like Graston type work.
I don't know what those are, but those look like ninja weapons.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see what this is.
You don't want that.
That looks just like a ninja star. I don't
Those are
know.
called rock blades.
It would change your life.
The name kind of says it all. Rock blades.
Would not see that in your normal everyday.
Probably
spa.
Probably not. Yeah. And then we also have like heat and stem and different techniques that we use as well.
Now, do you do cupping here as well? Because I get asked a lot of questions about that too. Cause
I don't do like the fire cups that you see like Michael Phelps doing.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
Exactly. But I do use cupping on certain things.
Okay.
I don't use it like across the board. Usually I don't use it in such a way that leaves the like very defined marks. I usually use it just kind of I layer it in with the manual therapies that I'm already using. As just kind of an extra tool to help separate the tissues.
Now, why we got you here, you get asked a lot of questions about this stuff, and we're not massage therapists, or not even.
We're smart.
We're smart. Ain't that smart? Like, come on, we're not professionals. Let's back up a minute. So, what is that like? Something like cupping? What is that actually doing?
Maybe we're just trying to pull blood into that area for recovery. I mean,
that's what we just told.
So, like, if I'm like putting pressure on a certain tissue, you like if these are the layers of tissue, and I'm putting pressure down on them, like you're kind of compressing them, right? And so like if I'm using a cup, I'm kind of creating what they call reverse pressure. So it's like kind of getting some pull in those tissues, and what we want is like independent movement with those tissues. And so it helps facilitate that, especially if you use it with like motion, getting like someone to go through range of motion while you're using the cup.
Absolutely.
A lot of times you can, I've found success doing that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, because we live in a society where we sit a lot, and so you guys know, you see people all the time who come in and they've been sitting at work for 8 hours, and their
I want to
tissues.
snatch 185. Wait a
Yeah.
second. Whoa!
Yeah,
Pump the brakes.
Exactly.
Pump the brakes.
They're locked in a position, and it's difficult for those tissues because over time they just kind of become gunked together.
Yeah.
Almost beef jerky like.
Yeah.
And so
Trying
the
to
cupping does a
retrain
great job of like separating those so you can get the sliding surfaces back to what they should be to enhance performance, allow them to go into the lift that they want to do, access greater ranges of motion. So it's pretty effective, and I think the Olympics helped out a lot with getting people interested in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Huge. Like, well, they're using it.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Is there a particular order that you kind of recommend any of these things, like for the massage part right into the stretching, or vice versa? Is there any particular one or the other, or maybe combination of the two?
Is it case by case, or?
It definitely is
just
case by
depends.
case. We get some people who come in and they have, like, my shoulder hurts when I go overhead, and so we probably take them through a little bit more of an assessment, trying to figure out what's going on, and then apply a modality that would address that issue and trying to get them out of pain first. Once they've gotten out of pain and we've restored some motion, they're feeling better, then we can talk more about like general maintenance stuff. So it might be some massage, it might be some cupping, it might be some stretching. It just really depends. But everybody is unique, and everybody does have their own, battles that they're going through with their,
I like that.
their body.
It's always kind of a trick question as a coach, because we can always do this. It's like, well, really,
Best answer is it depends.
Yeah, I usually like to tell people that most like especially if I'm seeing someone for the first time, most treatments I feel like I'm shooting from the hip in a sense. I'm feeling it out. We're kind of in it together, figuring out what the best course of action is.
Kind of like personal training. The first visit's like an assessment, and like trying to figure out what's going on with somebody too. Yeah. So kind of same concept there.
Yep.
Cool. Well, how do you guys pick who does what? Do you say, hey, bro, you're the best cupper I've ever seen? You sucked the best out of that lady earlier. All you. Like, how do you pick who does what? Like,
well, Steven does most of like the fascial stretching, and probably like active release stuff. Steven has had the most training in.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you guys like, hey, bro, like, I've been doing this, like, try this. You all help each other out and kind of feed off each other? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we will. And Blake's been in the massage world for a lot longer than I have. I've been out about a year. When did you graduate? About four years?
Yeah.
So he has just a little bit better understanding of the massage work, the sports massage, and he sees it every day in the training room because he is doing that with the Titans. So, I do a lot more stretching with my track athletes and active release. Not as much sports massage. So I think it just depends on the client that's coming in.
That's great.
Some of our availability too. And the good thing is people could bounce back and forth between the two of us and still get a very similar treatment. So
awesome.
Yeah, and to answer your question, I think like we're always talking about like new continuing education courses, like new modalities, like new things that we can add to our tool belts that we could go do together, or like
constant.
Yeah.
Sure.
It never ends, man. It never does. Yeah, always.
And it's expensive.
It's always expensive.
That's
Seems like it gets more expensive.
It does. The higher it gets, it's like, holy moly. Yeah, for sure.
Well, man, go ahead.
I was going to say, so what would you recommend? So say, most people who watch our videos are going to be either weightlifting in a class, some type of CrossFit, some type of circuit training class. How would they incorporate that to, say, they go 3 to 4 times a week? They're not necessarily injured, but they want to keep recovery. How many times? What are we kind of looking at in general for getting started for something like that? What do you guys think?
So we do session to session, but what we have recently started is a membership package. So just an auto pay once a month. You can go twice a month, 3 times a month, or 4 times a month. So some people, we have some clients who come in and they want some work done every week just to maintain. We get some really high-level triathletes and marathon runners who, they're beating their bodies up constantly. So that recovery is really, really important for them to continue doing what they love. Some CrossFit athletes, it's the same thing. So I really think it just depends on, what are they doing on their own, and then what do they need from us. And I think we offer something for everybody. So if somebody just wants something once a month, or if they're really into taking care of their body and want to make sure that they get some consistent work weekly, we can offer that.
I think that's a good point to bring up too, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna sign up and do a marathon." It's like a bucket list kind of goal, and they may be going from working out 2-3 times a week, maybe even 5 times a week, and then they start this marathon training, and then 2-3 months into it, we see it. It's like things are falling apart and breaking.
Yeah.
So it's definitely taking somebody from that into like a recovery, and recovery is so important when it comes to that. So it's crucial that we see people all the time like, "I want to do a half marathon." It's like, "Cool, have you done one before?" No, it's a bucket list. Or, "I want to do a whole marathon." It's like, all right, let's work on the recovery part, because most people can get the program of how many miles they got to put in per day, but not many people get the recovery of like, what do I need to do on the back end?
Yeah, why are my IT bands like so sensitive? My knee's fine, but I got 18 miles to do this week, so I'm gonna do it anyway.
Right.
But,
Yeah. And that's a good point too, because I feel like most people, when they think about recovery, they don't consider body work an option until they get injured. And I think
it's almost too late.
Exactly.
Point,
like we're trying to make up for lost time at that point. So I think the best thing that you can do is be proactive and preventative in taking care of your body.
Absolutely.
At the pro level, especially in the track and field world, I can't think of one pro athlete that doesn't have a massage therapist on staff. And it's just a big part of that. And so what we wanted to do was bring that to the general public. I mean, there's lots of people who enjoy being active, lifting weights, whatever it may be. And I firmly believe that most people aren't overtrained, they're under-recovered. So if they don't take consistent care of themselves outside those training windows, that's when it starts to lead to issues. They're pounding, not getting enough sleep, not hydrating, not taking care of their soft tissue, and then things just kind of compound. And like Blake said, then we're dealing with a problem that probably could have been avoided, but we are kind of,
seen as a last resort.
So.
I'm broke.
And I mean, honestly, at that point too, a lot of the stuff that you guys do, you just can't do on your own. You can do some of it, but not to the extent of probably what a real therapist would be able to get in and really help somebody with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you stretched yourself out, you might spend 5-10 minutes and then, okay, I'm good to go. But I'll get you on the table and stretch you out for an hour, and most people wouldn't take that amount of time. Or Blake would get you on the table and work on some specific areas that you can't get behind your shoulder blade very well, or things like that, into the deep layers of your neck.
Touch my shoulder.
Yeah.
Just lean up against a wall or something.
Somewhere back there. So and I think people are starting to see that there is a need for that, and if you want to continue training however long, I think people should be able to do it well into their 70s, 80s, 90s if they take the right steps and don't burn their genetics. But it's important to take this side of it really serious too. So
I like that. I mean, I totally agree. I think people use the word overtrain so much because it's a buzzword, and so it's what they hear in media and culture. And the flip side of that is that, well, stop saying you're overtrained, start learning what recovery is. And that's important. And that should be a part of your programming and part of your training schedule. And if you have a coach, he should be educated enough to know how important that is, that he might not be smart enough. He might need to send you somewhere to get recovered from people who are smarter than he is, to be able to touch your shoulder blade whenever you can't do it, things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is people will follow certain training programs, not realizing on the flip side what some of those athletes that are doing those same programs,
all the other
stuff that they don't see, that doesn't get posted on Instagram, that's not that cool, is what helps keep them being able to perform at that particular level too, which you see a little bit in some of kind of the CrossFit documentaries. They'll go behind the scenes and some of the
and grinded tissue down.
That scene lasts for 45 seconds, where the training is like the cool part of it, and so that's kind of part of that. Well, if people want to kind of learn more about you, go for it.
All right, guys. So we talked about training and scheduling, and obviously you guys probably put this in your own programming. What type of training do you do? I mean, I know you're playing volleyball and you're a strength coach, so you're probably heavily involved in that kind of world.
Yep.
What training do you guys do personally, and how do you program this type of, recovery in that process? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm currently doing, I've taken a little step back, and I'm doing a 8-week deadlifting program. And
I'm so happy.
That's all I'm doing. So it's a really interesting program. It's 3 sets of 20, and you start out. Yeah, it's really crazy.
Sounds terrible. I'm taking all back. 20 reps.
It's really designed for an intermediate or advanced lifter who's kind of hit a plateau in some of their lifts and kind of wants to make a breakthrough. It's called the Cal Poly 8-week deadlifting program, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I like to change things up a bit, and I love to deadlift. So my goal is to
You traditional sumo.
Traditional, yeah,
Ooh,
absolutely.
he said it quick, like he was ashamed to say
I don't mind sumo at all.
Traditional. Hello.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing right now, and then I try to get some mobility work in every day, 10 minutes. That's why I tell a lot of people 10 minutes a day can really help.
Did you post, pre, during?
It just depends. I'm so busy. Sometimes it's just whenever I can get to it, to be
cool.
honest.
Yeah.
But I would definitely work it in first thing in the morning if you have some time. I think getting your joints moving in the morning is really important.
So what body weight are you at, and what's your deadlift at right now? Like, are you plateaued, I'm assuming? You're
Yeah,
trying to get...
so I'm at a 1 rep max at 407. I
Nice.
weigh 168 pounds. So
407. See, actually, use the real kilograms. I like that.
yeah. So,
Speaking to real weightlifting.
Yeah, 407. When you said 405, you're like, hey, max.
yeah. So
Awesome.
that's where I'm at, and I would like to get close to 500. We'll see. So
Baby steps.
Yep.
Baby steps.
Nice. Here I am crying through small off.
Yeah.
He's over here doing 20 deadlifts. Woo! 3 sets of 20.
I'm not doing anything like that. I'm running a half marathon this weekend.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I've been training for that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we have a ton of runners.
Yeah.
To watch. How's the recovery during that, and how do you program, especially IT band, knee pain?
So like for me, it's essential that I roll after each run.
Okay.
Like I've just found that for me, I have to do that. Roll and stretch. I also, I personally get body work done every 2 weeks. I'll usually trade out with another therapist.
Love it.
And another thing that I love that like not a lot of people love, or like it's floating, like sensory deprivation float tanks.
The tanks, yeah.
Like have you
Okay.
seen like Stranger
I've seen it.
Things?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
So what are you doing there? Just
So
hanging out?
it's like
Meditate.
so meditate, like kill monsters. No, it's like so it's 3 feet of water with 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts, and so you're completely buoyant,
Okay.
and there's no light, no sound, so there's no sensory input like at all. And so what your brain does is it goes into what's called Theta State, where it kind of decompresses and compartmentalizes. And it's like what you do when you sleep, only you're still awake. And I think some high degree of gravity is taken off your joints and your body while you're buoyant. And so that for me is like hitting the reset button.
That's awesome.
Sounds awesome. Kind of scary.
Kind of scary. The first time, definitely scary. But after that,
It's just like pitch black, like nothing.
yeah, man.
That's
That's
awesome.
crazy. How long are you in there?
90 minutes.
Wow.
How long does that feel?
Like, dude, it's hard. It's like sometimes you're like, I don't know if I'm asleep or if I'm awake, and then like 90 minutes passes and it doesn't feel like 90 minutes, so you know that you had to have slept at some point.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's
crazy.
just
That's crazy.
And then we both have done the cryo here, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll have to
Cryotherapy
talk to him.
chambers
Yeah.
are really cool. It gets anywhere from 220 to 280 degrees below zero.
It's
You're there
cold.
for about 3 minutes. So that's a great way to hit the reset button. And it's really nice to
I'll
be
have
able
to try
to
that.
have
too.
that in-house. Yeah.
Cool.
Real quick, how can people find more about you? As far as Instagram, Facebook, websites, just cruising by, whatever.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our website is called revivesportsrecovery.com, and I think all of our handles are Revive Sports Recovery.
Okay.
So
Cool. And we
Email
can
us, yeah.
schedule from there, call
Mhm.
in, whatever.
Yep. Like our number is kind of all over those places, and you can also schedule online.
Cool.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, cool. Till next week, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.